Hi guys, today I'm going to do a video on San Francisco and its famous hills. After coming across a picture of San Francisco at work the other day, it got me thinking that maybe San Francisco's hills aren't natural at all, but that San Francisco is actually mud flooded. I mean, if you look at this picture right here, this street is like almost vertical. And I'm thinking to myself, like, if I was the founder of San Francisco and I saw hills like this, would I say, hey, let's build some buildings here? Or would I say, screw it, let's go find somewhere else where the land is much more flat? So this is the picture I found, and as you can see, clear signs of mud flooding, as you can see, with the level of the street covering up half where this is the door. This should have been street level, but street level is coming all the way up to here now, when it really should be down here somewhere. And if you look at this old photo, same situation. You see the building is pretty much cut off as usual. Like, I really just don't think that this building was built on this incline like this. I really feel that once upon a time this was a normal building with its street level down here. Mud flood came along and they just kind of had to dig this out and do the best they could with it. Again, if you just look at any street, basically, you'll see that the buildings are cut off by the street. And again, I just don't believe that people would build like this. As you can see, there's something else that should have been down here. Even this little brick area right here, you can see that it's totally cut off, and it looks like this door is recessed beneath the ground. Over here, again, this door, you can see it cut off. Straight at an angle, as usual, same situation. All these buildings at such a ridiculously steep incline. It's just like, who would say, hey, we're going to build our buildings like this? I mean, I'm not even sure of the architecture that would be involved, like as far as construction, to have to cut a building off and level it so that it would fit on such an incline. As usual, you can see this looks like it was indeed cut off. It does not look like this is a natural formation. It looks like the street level was way lower at one point. Like, I just don't believe, again, that they built this building like this. And in this picture you can see these stairs which look like they've been cut off by the land. I mean, that definitely is like half of a step right there. Like, who would construct their building with a half a step? This has definitely been covered by mud, and they just had to, again, use concrete and do the best they can. And if you kind of look at this area right here, to me, it looks like this building should go way further down underground here. Like, even this is probably not the original door level, in my opinion. Again, more weird cut off areas in the building, and house after house after house, same thing. Like, I don't think this was made this way. And if you look at this old photograph here, it kind of looks like these houses were here at some point and mud or something just kind of, covered everything up and they had to dig it out. Like, that's just my little take on this photo right here. I guess judging from the cars, this might be like the 50s or something. So yeah, again, looks like they just kind of like dug these houses out of all this dirt right here. And you'll see again, buildings cut off, street level is here, but yet this is all cut off. All these little strange alleys, they kind of had to just do whatever they could to dig out the buildings so they could use them again. And more steep inclines. It's just really fascinating. We always thought that, oh, this was just a real hilly street, hilly landscape, but again, I don't think that's natural. This building, the photograph is taken at a funny angle, but if you can imagine this building being right side up, you can see how half of it is indeed cut off by the street. And this was probably, like, maybe this was the original area where the door should have been, and whatever window, like this is a window here, like these were probably originally windows instead of doors, and they would have just had to dig in and do the best they can to get into the building. Same thing in this situation. Buildings that are just half like cut off cut off, cut off, cut off. Doesn't look really natural or practical to me if I were the person who was founding this city. Same thing here. Steep inclines, buildings that are cut off. And this is really interesting here. I'm looking at this, what it looks like a roadway that kind of like zigzags and goes up here. I mean, like, who would deliberately create such a convoluted road? If you were the person in charge of this landscape, like, who would do this? Who would do this? If this would have been a normal city with a normal streetscape, would anybody say, hey, we're gonna like build these crazy hills and roads twisting and turning? No, I think it was just covered by mud, and again, they had to do the best they could to create a road or something like that with it. Again, more buildings, just this was bricked up and cut off. I think this is another one of those photos where it's taken at a wonky angle, but again, if you can imagine this little planted area straight, again, why would they build it to keep it cut off like this? Doesn't make much sense. And again, weird steepness, a lot of these stairs going up by these buildings that just, if you were doing construction, I just don't think that this is the way you would do it. Same deal, crazy steep angles. And you can see here, again, street level, buildings that are cut off. It looks like maybe this building might have been similar to this with windows that were down here that got cut off. That could be a possibility. And this is really a fascinating image for me. Like, this is the street level here, but as you can see from the front, this is like the second level of this building. This is what should be a second floor, but it comes down to the ground here. I just don't believe this was built this way. And if you look at this door placement here, it's kind of like they just kind of had to dig it out and make it into a door. Like, this wasn't originally a door, in my opinion. If you see like the levels of these windows, I believe that this would have been a window and they just had to make it into a door because this whole bottom level of the building was covered and they had to dig it out right here. This is street level, and this is going up, up, up to what looks like the third level of the building here becomes practically, it becomes really like ground level by the time you get to this point. Again, I don't believe they built a building on a hill this way. I believe the building was here and it got covered up with mud, flooded, and they had to dig it out. More crazy angles, same thing, same deal. Same deal with what looks like a church. You can see the original ground level here, and even the stairs you can see here are slowly cut off, and this looks like it was a window, which probably would have been much higher up if you got the original street level. And even again, this right here is probably not the original street level. It probably goes down even deeper than what we see here. Again, funny wonky angles that people take their photos at, but you can see how much of the wall is exposed here and how there's less and less of the brick area exposed, again indicating mud flooding right here. And more examples. This one is a little bit tricky, but you can see the incline of the street here versus the front of the building, and it looks like the original level maybe would have been somewhere like here, but maybe this little side of the building was covered up, so you can see this level is higher than the street level over here. And last but not least, this is another interesting building. I think this might be the one in the first photograph. As you can see how the bottom half of the building is cut off. And to me, what I find fascinating is that you look at the decoration and design of the window here, and you look at the current door, and it looks like this used to be a window just like this. You can see same decorations, same everything, and when the building was flooded, they had to cut out the bottom part of this window and turn it into a door because the original door would have been at the same level as this door or even lower, got cut off, so they had to cut out this part of the building and turn this window into a door. So that's my little theory on San Francisco. The hills of San Fran are not natural, but the city is actually mud flooded. Tell me what you guys think. See you in the next video.